Hey, thank you for joining me randomly on this beautiful Sunday late afternoon, early evening. This is a recap video. I am having the privilege and opportunity to be here and to have a short chat with Aden Thao, who recently raced race number 2 at Road America in Wisconsin. Aden is actually he's setting amazing records at this point. Today, for those who don't know, he set the rain lap record at Road America for the fastest time. It was amazing. He was a full at least 4 seconds faster than any rider during the warm-up race. However, Mother Nature wouldn't have its way. He had a slip and he did fall off his bike. He did also damage his bike, and he'll tell you more about it. And he was not able to continue, but it is what it is. Despite that, Aden is very much still ranked number 4 in the standings. And this year, it is an incredibly tight race. The top rider now is at 80 points, and I think Aden is about 61. And to give you a little bit of perspective, what that basically means is this: if Aden takes podium, he can technically be jumped right up into first place. And so, we still have a lot of opportunity for Aden to excel, and we are still very much early in the season. But Aden, we love him, we support him, and we are completely behind him. Without further ado, Aden, how are you doing?
It could be better, but I'm doing well.
Yeah, you look well. Yeah, it was a slip. The most important thing, Aden, I think, is that you're safe, and
Yeah.
it could have been a lot worse. I was watching a lot of the footage of the other races. Man, a lot of people fell.
Oh
A
yeah.
lot of people got hurt. I actually got really scared when Kayla fell, because Kayla's got a torn ACL and MCL, and when she fell, I was like, to me, people don't know, but as an orthopedist, I watched her get up, and I her leg buckled a little bit as she got up. So I was like, holy Jesus. But you're safe, and that's the most important thing. And you win some and you lose some. Yeah. How was it for you?
Yeah, so I'm a little bummed out, but
Yeah.
that's the nature of the sport. Like I always tell people, um, you know, like you were mentioning earlier, I was the fastest out in practice, in the rain, and I was so fast that I was able to set the lap record, and
Yeah.
that's incredible. And a lot of the competitors, they started to get a little worried. A lot of
Yeah.
the announcers, they all came up and talked to me after the morning practice. They came and sat down. They wanted to question me, how I felt going into the race, and I told them that I had a lot of confidence, especially that I have this slight advantage over the competitors. You know, as competitors, we're all friends. During the when we're not racing, we all talk, we're all friends. But when we're racing, it's a whole different world. We're all
Mm,
competing against each other. But
yeah.
I know who's strong while racing in the rain. I know who's weak while racing rain. I know the rain is one of my slight advantages.
Mm,
As a racer, I perform very well in the rain, and that's crazy to hear, especially that we live in California and we rarely see rain. So
yeah.
we don't really get to practice in the rain too much, but
What
unfortunately,
what what is it about the rain that makes you so comfortable?
the rain the rain could be very unpredictable as well.
Mm,
Like I'll speak more later on. The rain is something that not too many riders have experience riding in. A lot of our races are, 99% of our races is when it's dry,
yeah.
and a motorcycle only has two wheels, and a motorcycle could fall really easily in the rain. But that's why we have special made tires
Mm,
for our motorcycles when we race in the rain. So I see that as a slight advantage in my case that I have over my competitors. And unfortunately, when the race came, I made a mistake going into the third corner, and that costed us the race. And I'm super bummed out about that, but that's something that happens, to everyone, and that happens
yeah.
to the best racers in the world. The top level racers, they still make mistakes,
Yeah.
dumb little mistakes like that.
Well,
You know,
You can only control so much of it because I mean it's rain and so how different was it taking that turn versus when you were by yourself? Do you think it was because there was a pack there that you raced a little bit differently at that spot?
Um, now that it's over, and then I looked back at it, it was definitely the line that I chose.
Hmm.
When I was out in practice, I was by myself. There wasn't anyone near me. There wasn't anyone next to me, so I had a clear track. I had the
Hmm.
whole track to ride on to use.
Hmm.
But the race actually started. We're all jamming up
Yeah.
into. We're all fighting for one corner, so I had to choose a different line that a little bit not used to, and then it just got the best of me because us as racers, we try to build our racecraft and we try not to let the pressure get to us as much
Hmm.
as possible. I was able to see a lot of fans over there. I know there was a lot of people back at home watching me, cheering me on, and I had a lot of confidence from the morning practice. So,
Yeah.
my plan was to go out there, get up front as soon as possible. It was only a 4 lap race,
Hmm.
to get up there as soon as possible and try to pull away from the pack because I know we had the speed to win the race.
Hmm.
But I guess it just got the best of me. I took a different line. I got on the gas a little too hard, and then I lost the rear. The rear spun out. And for people that quite don't understand what we're talking about, it's kind of like driving a car in the rain.
Hmm.
If you don't have any traction control in your car in the rain, and you step on the gas a little too hard, you're gonna spin out. That's the exact same thing that happened to me in the
Hmm.
race. And yeah, I'm a little bummed. I'm okay. Our gear that we wear keeps us safe, and I'm perfectly fine. No injuries, no soreness, no nothing.
Hmm. Good.
The bike unfortunately wasn't really capable of finishing the race, even though there was a red flag.
Hmm.
And theoretically, we could rejoin the race. Um,
We thought so at that point we didn't see you anymore.
yeah,
And because sometimes the Motor America, the tight your name, let's say tight in the front.
yeah,
Like for example, when you watch on the tight, who was it? The second race, number 4, I think, in the super bikes. Um, but he fell, but even though the bóng tàu cao the pita tight, but I thought that maybe in their case, like you tight also. So I thought, okay, well, Aiden's in the back, he's just not there yet. But then once we saw
the restart.
the the race line or the order, and we didn't see you on it, and I figured, okay, well, yeah, that's a little suspicious. And then when they said red flag, everyone's starting in their starting positions, then we got really happy. We're like, oh, Aiden's gonna go back to 6. That'd be great. But we didn't see him, and that's when everyone was like, okay, well, it is what it is.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we only had such a short amount of time in a
Mm,
small window, so we couldn't get the bike fixed for the race restart. But
mm,
oh, that's completely fine. There was there's no one to blame but me, really. I was the one that went out there and made a dumb mistake. The team, they worked really hard, and they put me on the best bike out there on the grid, and unfortunately, it just wasn't my day. And
yeah.
us racers, even though that we have and we make those little mistakes like that, it costs us the race. We learn off of that. So as every race weekend goes on, not just me myself as the racer learn, us
Hmm.
as a team, that we learn more about racecraft as well. Something that I've learned is to not get too excited too soon. Like
Mm,
I was earlier, I had the speed to run up front, but it just got to me, and the plan that I came up with and the plan that I try to stick with, it just didn't turn out well for me, and that's completely my fault. But us as a team, now we know that if I do end up going down and there is a red flag restart, we need all of our tools ready on hot pit for me
mm,
to get the bike fixed, make that restart, and rejoin the race. And it's something that not just me that is learning. Us as a team, my whole team, my mechanic, my crew, we're all learning this
mm.
as time goes on as well. So it's a team effort when it comes to motorcycle racing.
It reminds me of surgery. We're in the OR. You never know what's gonna go wrong, and you always want like there's a plan B.
Yeah,
That's cool. That's cool. You always. I mean, this weekend it's been a lot of unexpected things. You never can really expect anything like the rain, and that probably freaked out a lot of people
yeah,
having to adjust to the rain. And yeah, so you're now in fourth, like literally a couple points behind third, but it's still a really close race. So your next race will be in about 2 weeks at the Ridge.
correct.
How would you describe the Ridge, the racetrack?
The Ridge is definitely a very hard technical track in my
Hmm.
opinion. The Ridge, the one thing that the Ridge doesn't have is long straightaways like Road America.
Hmm.
If you watch the first race, I was, I believe third or fourth on the second to last lap, and I got pushed back to eighth or ninth. Just
Hmm.
going down straightaway, just getting drafted.
Hmm.
Um, the draft could either be very good or very bad. The draft could either help us or be our worst enemy, and that's something that
Yeah.
the Ridge doesn't have is a draft.
Hmm.
The ways are not as long at the Ridge. The Ridge is a lot tighter corners, a lot more technical. It's a lot slower track.
Hmm.
I personally don't mind the Ridge at all. The Ridge, it just got fresh pavement, so everything is nice and smooth.
Hmm.
Road America was quite bumpy.
The,
Um,
the the pavement looked pretty like I was like, whoa, that pavement is pretty bad in certain parts.
yeah, Road America was very bumpy.
Hmm.
It was a lot more bumpier than the last time I remembered it riding it last year. But the Ridge, I personally don't mind it. It's not my favorite. It's not the worst track in the world, so I'm looking forward to it. And at VRR, Virginia, I think that we had a little conversation about it too.
Yeah.
We talked about VIR, and I told you VIR wasn't one of my most favorite tracks, but we ended up doing good there. So who
Yeah.
knows? The Ridge might be my new favorite track. So
Because
I'll,
at Road America, I mean, you just saw consistently like I mean, after turn 14, it was like draft city. Like I can't even tell you how many races I saw where the first place just got overtaken by like a tire, or maybe a
yeah,
little bit more than a tire by the guy drafting him. So even that last race, it was again I can't remember who won, but whoever won drafted Cody. Cody
Cody.
drafted, yeah, he drafted up ahead of Kayla was first, and
Yeah,
he drafted over Kayla and Lamandry.
yeah.
So it was pretty amazing, and so you're not going to see a whole lot of that at the Ridge. You're saying then,
Not too much. It's not going to be as dramatic as Road America. And the one thing about the Junior Cup this year, the Junior Cup this year, the race series, it is probably one of the most competitive, I would say,
yeah,
out of the whole entire Junior Cup series. As long as Motor America has been going on, for the past previous years of Junior Cup, it would always be one, two, three rider pull away from the rest of the field. But now this year we have 10, 12 riders battling for first place. If you watch the first race, it was crazy. There was 10 of us,
yeah.
fighting for a spot going into a turn.
It
And
looked like I mean it was just like that last couple turns was just like 10 bikes like
yeah,
this. Like anyone that just catches the draft is gonna, and
yeah. It was quite nerve-wracking. It was quite scary. There was times where I was about to run off into the grass or off the track because there was so much people trying to fight for a spot. There was a time where I passed for the lead in turn 5, rubbing shoulders against Levy Batty,
he was
by
right behind you, and he came right up on you. It looked like he bumped the back of you.
yeah, but that's racing, and that goes to show how hard we race, and that's how close
Yeah.
that we race. And that's something that I love, racing hard like that, racing in tight quarters. We learn to trust each other, and we have that kind of skill to race that close with each other.
Yeah, there's like so for those who don't know Moto America, the common misconception is that okay, it's a junior cup, so they're not that good. No, that's not necessarily true. That's not true at all. Okay, a good example is, let's see here. So like in the super sport, um,
Yeah.
how would you describe a super sport bike in comparison? So would the super sport be like the 600 and 700s?
Yeah. So recently, just this year, Super Sport has changed into FIM rules.
Hmm.
So mainly, Super Sport is 600s. When you think of Super Sport classes, you think of 600cc bikes, but the rule just changed. They're allowing Gixxer 750s, with higher
Hmm.
displacement. Josh Heron on the Ducati V2,
Hmm.
that's a totally different bike that we haven't seen in a super sport class. But it's crazy. Like you mentioned earlier, Junior Cup, just because the name Junior is in there, it doesn't mean that we're any less worse or better than the other classes. It's
Yeah,
crazy because Tyler Scott,
that's what I
the
was going to mention right now. Tyler Scott.
you already read my mind. Tyler Scott,
That's what I
the
was just browsing it right now because I couldn't remember his name.
Tyler
So he
Scott,
rode with you last year.
yes, yeah, he was the Moto America Junior Cup champion last year, and
Hmm.
he's doing fantastic in the super sport
He
class.
just won today.
Yeah, and Rocco Landers, the two-time Junior Cup champion, they're both doing great in super sport. So, those two riders that I just named, Tyler Scott, Rocco Landers, they are previous Junior Cup champions.
Hmm.
And whenever they move up classes to the super sport, the 600 class, they're just as good. They're top runners. They're battling for position. So just the name junior, yes, we are a little bit younger than the rest of the field, the rest of the other classes, but that doesn't make us any better or any worse than the other classes as well.
Yeah. So junior, for those who don't understand, is 14 to 28, and Cody Wyman is 28. But don't think that just because you're racing a 14-year-old that you won't get your butt beat, because you can't
No.
get your, like Kayla at 14. She can beat a lot of people a
Oh,
lot older than her.
oh yeah, Kayla, she's a spectacular rider. She has a lot of racing experience, racing overseas. She has a track in her front yard.
Yeah.
Like if you watch the YouTube video when they covered her a few years ago
Oh
before she
yeah.
came
I saw
here,
that. Yeah.
she has tons of racing experience in the dirt, track in her front yard, overseas racing, and she's only 14 years old, and sometimes I struggle myself to keep up with her, and that should
Yeah.
say a lot, and it's definitely a different type of level of racing, and that shows how good these riders actually are at such a young age, and you know
Yeah.
in America, speaking, we're generally considered slow here in America compared to, other countries like Spain and Europe.
Hmm.
Those riders that are 10, 12, 13, 14 years old, oh man, those boys, they were very,
Yeah.
very.
Well, let's talk about that because the average person probably watching us right now that's not familiar with racing is thinking, okay, when I turn 16, I'm gonna start to ride a bike. No, you're Aden. You started at 15. You're like the anomaly. You're like the guy who started late. Whereas like Kayla, she straight up said, "No, I started when I was like 3, 4."
Yeah,
So they might be 14, but no, no, no. They've actually been racing. They've been riding for like 10 years as a little kid, and so
yeah,
it's not what people think of in terms of age.
yeah. I'm not gonna say names or anything, but I do talk, around the paddock, and I do know a lot of the racers, and one of the racers that was a previous champion
Hmm.
back in the days. He was, I believe, 15 years old when he championed the Junior Cup here
Hmm.
in America, and he was untouchable. He was unstoppable, right?
Hmm.
So good here in America, but when he went overseas, I think the best place that he finished out there was 14th position out there.
Wow.
So that goes to show that the Moto America Junior Cup champion from how many years ago struggles to place a top 10 in Europe.
Yeah.
So that goes to show, how skillful these younger riders are.
So historically, um I mean, I was on Moto America site. We haven't been riding for very long. I mean, maybe like what, 60s, 70s that
Mm,
Moto America started. I mean,
yeah,
it's not like something from a
AMA.
long, yeah, it's
Yeah.
not like super long ago. But do you happen to know how long they've been riding in Europe?
I'm not sure. I think it's more of the culture, overseas. Like, I don't have too much experience speaking about Europe and Spain, but I know in Thailand, because that's really the only race, overseas racing I have out there. And the culture is a lot more dedicated to motorcycles and cars.
Mm,
You go to other countries, and motorcycle is a lot more popular than cars out there.
mm,
Here in America, cars, you see cars every day. You see more cars than motorcycles here in America, but you go to other countries around the world, you see more motorcycles than cars. You
yeah,
know, some countries only the rich own cars and drive cars out there. So I believe it's more of the culture, and the support that they have overseas is a lot bigger. The racing community, the racing fan base. We do have a very big following fan base of Moto America here in the United States, but I just think that there is a lot more support out in other countries as well.
yeah. So we've got some people here saying hi. Michelle is here. I hope Michelle's still watching. She says hi to us. And she says that sad that you didn't get to finish the race, especially since you love the rain.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the only person more brokenhearted than me and Michelle is probably Aiden.
Yep. Thank you, Joe.
Guzro says hello, and then we got David here. David Yang, rapper, says, "Just wanted to say I'm so proud of you, Aiden. Keep building and striving for greatness. We are all behind you." And so a lot of
Thank
people watching, and if we can, Aiden, I would love to continue to just do a race recap after every race, win or lose, it doesn't matter. Kind of what I said at the end of the race, that that the most important thing, it's not that Aiden wins. Yeah, it'd be nice if Aiden wins, but we're just here to support Aiden. Let's not do the bandwagon thing where we only support him if he wins. Support him regardless. It's fun. It's like to have even have a Hmong person out there representing. I talk to your dad a lot, and he's always telling me, "Oh, alone we're out here, and một chuyện này tự đơn còn gọi chỉ mỗi đường phong lì." And for you guys to go to have the mindset and the mentality to go out there, because a lot of people probably wouldn't. They're intimidated, but in your case, I give you guys a lot of props because I didn't quite understand it until I was at Button Willow, and I imagine it'd be a certain way too if we were at Moto America. But you thought, and you guys, and yeah, it's not like everyone's like friends. When I went to Button Willow, everyone was just like, "Oh, it's Aiden," and it was friendly. And I know it's not always the case because people get competitive, and I work with a lot of like Fresno State D1 sports, and I know that the more competitive you are, the more cutthroat you can become too, and that's just the nature of it. But you guys handle yourselves well, and you handle yourselves professional. But like I said, there's always more that Hmong people can do to support you and support Cali Shine, because Cali Shine is 这种 Hmong side, it's a big like a big race sponsor, but in reality, it's hard, it's tough, and you guys, man, you guys work your butts out there, and I think you guys work so hard and you've earned so much, and we want to sit there here and we want to still continue to support you as much as we can, support Moto America too, because they're doing great things. And it's hard because at the end of the day, Moto America is still representing the US, and maybe mong sa the Motor American law, but like kind of what you're talking about, to Junior Cup, and you can't jump like saying to Europe, and he struggles. Um, so it's interesting, and we love what you're doing. We just want to I guess I'll speak on my behalf, and I hope I can speak on the behalf of the Hmong community that we support you. We got your back, and those people who can financially sponsor Aden and Kalishine, I would definitely recommend you guys do so, because you guys are going to be changing a lot of things, and I think that you're gonna break a lot of ground in terms of writing from home people. Actually, I met Steve Vang or Steve Yang, and he told me he's gonna race at Brainerd in Minnesota. So that'll be really exciting too. We'll see how he does. But yeah, exciting. I think you're opening doors for other people.
Yeah, that's something that I'm super excited about as well. To see a lot of the fans here in Wisconsin as well. I mentioned yesterday, there was a good amount of the Hmong fans that came out to support and watch me race, and it's always great, seeing the Hmong community come out, to the races and stop by and say hi, take some photos, have a chat with them, and that's something that I really appreciate from the fans as well. And it sucks because when the fans come out to watch, you do try your best to go out and perform and and take the win, but unfortunately that's just not the case. And you win some, you lose some. Like they say, you can't win them all, and it just wasn't our weekend this week. But I'm looking forward for the next few races, and I believe that we'll step on that podium again. We'll step on that top one, and that's something that we're all striving for.
Um, I'm excited for the Ridge. When do you return home? Because you've been on the road for like a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, I'm really homesick. I
Oh,
really want to go back home. I miss my bed. I
mm,
miss my
yeah.
dog. I just miss, being myself at home. And I was actually complaining to my mom. I was like, oh man, like I miss the gym so much, right?
Mm.
'Cause back at home, I go to the gym, I train, I work out, and then when I come out here and I don't have that gym, I feel very tired. And but yeah, we've been on the road for about 3 weeks now, so
That's tough.
we didn't go home after Virginia. We kind of
Yeah.
just stayed East Coast and Midwest, but we're currently at the hotel right now, and tomorrow morning we're gonna head down to Chicago, Illinois. That's actually where we're flying out of,
Mhm.
and we'll catch a flight over there, and then hopefully we're home by tomorrow because our flight does not take off until 8 at night here. So
Mm.
it's gonna be very late when we return home, but I'll be very happy to return home late in the night and then just sleep in my
Yeah.
bed, right?
It'd be nice to come home and get some Hmong food, some rice, because your dad was telling me, "No, we're just eating like hamburgers and this stuff." I was like,
Yeah,
"Okay, Lo." Um,
especially especially when we're on the road, we're just eating, a lot of fast food, a lot of food that's not healthy. So
yeah.
I gotta get back into my rhythm, back at home.
All
Hey,
right, well, I'm
Mary.
excited. You'll be home for a couple weeks, and then you guys typically leave for Ridge will start on a Friday, that 24th, but you guys typically leave on a Wednesday or a Thursday?
We typically leave on a Wednesday. Thursday is setup day. So Thursday is the day that we set up all of our tents, our pits. Friday, of course, is practice and qualifying, and Saturday and Sunday's race. And man, I really wanted you to come out to Laguna because I wanted
No,
you to get
Laguna's like breaking my heart because
I wanted
so
you to
remember when I met you, your dad told me way on, and but he told me it was in June. So I was like, yeah, absolutely, I'll come film you in June. And then I looked on Moto America's site, and oh crap, that's July 8th. So I'll be in Hawaii, but actually I haven't even told you guys yet. But your dad and I were talking about it, and I told him, hey, why don't I come film you guys? And he was like, yeah. And I said, well, where do you think is good? And he said, "Go to Ridge," and so because he said, "Yeah, because Ridge is close." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll come." And I thought about, it, I was like, "No," because my line of work to block off my surgery schedule, I have to block it like months in advance. So I was thinking, I haven't even told your dad yet. Thao, actually, I would like to come to Alabama because that's
Mhm.
September. I don't know if
Yeah.
because it was raining last time in Alabama, I think, or at one point, but
Yeah,
it
Harbor always has rain. Yeah, it's
yeah.
always raining Harbor, around that time of year. So there's a good chance that it's going to be raining pretty hard over there. But
Mm.
Long, I need you to promise me you need to go to, and you need to be at one Moto America race, before the
Oh,
season ends.
I will come. I will come. Like the my wife my wife will kill me. You'll see. So we're gonna blog our July trip. So sorry, we're
Yep.
just talking random stuff. People are gonna watch us talk about random stuff. But I've never taken my mom and my dad. And my mom and dad, they're getting old, and so my mom has always wanted to go to Hawaii. And so we're like going crazy. 2 weeks Hawaii all out. Like we're going like 4 different places to show them Oahu, and we'll never ever go back to the island again because we're like, no, we're gonna come here. Mom and dad's gonna see it, and so it's gonna be like but actually that first weekend we're at this one place, but I could skip out, but that'd be my wife would kill me because we've been planning for a year. But
No,
that being
no,
said, I would say otherwise I would go as long as你去晒 on like ridge 你晒热的话 ridge all week, that'd be crazy because my boss would not be happy. Yeah, I
yeah,
told him, yeah, I would go to a Ridge, and he looked at me. He was kind of like, no, you will not be going to Ridge. But okay, I'll give you my word, Aiden. I will come before I will come to Moto America somewhere and get some really good footage of you. I'm telling you, I'll get some really good footage. I'm waiting for a lens. This lens, I've been waiting 6 months for Aiden to come, and it's not here. But yeah, I'll give you my word. Before the year's over,
yeah.
the place that I would like to go to is Atlanta because it's the end of the year. I'm just saying in my mind, I'm like, okay, there's Aiden at the end. Okay, road Atlanta podium. There you go. Nothing beats that. But let me talk. I'll talk to you and I'll talk to your dad a little bit more about what the best place is other than Ridge and Laguna.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if
yeah,
if
yeah.
not if not Alabama, where else would you recommend? Give me one. I'm listening. I'm just gonna plug in my power.
It really, it's really up to you. I know family is very important and work is very important. So that's something that, you got to take care of. That's one of your main priorities. So, don't worry about it if the Ridge or Laguna doesn't work out. I think every track has its own beauty, and every track will be great for shooting. Some tracks are better than others. But whenever you have time, you need to come to one Moto America race. I know you've been to one of my club races at Bunt
I
Willow,
I
but
technically did not see you race at
yeah,
Button Willow because it rained that
I
day.
would bring that up. Yeah, you were at the race, but you weren't there when I was racing.
Yeah,
So
because it rained and they shut down that track. I
yeah.
remember Jang and I were there and it was really nice in the morning. All of a sudden got really windy and it was like crazy, crazy.
So for whoever's watching right now, for how much Long knows about me and racing and all Moto America competitors, as much as he knows about racing, he hasn't seen me on a motorcycle yet.
No, I actually have not. I've seen you drive like on your bike literally probably 10 miles an hour across your pit. But actually, so those who don't know, I know nothing about racing up until February, early February, when I saw you at Buttonwood. I knew nothing about racing. And it's so intense for me because now I'm starting to know like the international racers. I'm starting to know like all the people that are racing against you. I can now look and say, oh, that's not Aiden. That's Cody Weidman. He's got green on his back. Aiden does not have green on his back. It's all white and black. And then it got so crazy because there's so many rules that I was telling your dad. Yeah, I downloaded their manual, their regulations because I had to know more about like protesting and whatnot. It's really cool, really interesting. It's been a great experience. I still hold my position that I'll never get on a bike. I just don't have not brave enough. Maybe I don't know. Maybe one of these days, one of my sons will. I don't know, but again, I don't know. We'll see. It's really cool. It's a really cool sport, and I'm starting to really love it. And I see why I can now see why you love it so much.
Yeah.
It's really
It,
awesome.
it's something very different, and it's something that's not too common here in America. And going back to what we were talking about earlier, why racing here in America is not as big. You know, because America, we're kind of divided when it comes to sports. You know,
Mm.
America, when you think about American sports, you think about football and basketball, right? You know, you don't
Yeah.
really think of
Baseball.
motorcycling. And well, yeah, baseball as well. But you know, out in other countries, you know, one big sport is soccer out there. You know, soccer is a worldwide sport, and you know, racing is one of them as well. So you know,
Mm.
that's also why it's such a different sport here in America, and you know, that's why I love it so much because you know, it's so different. You know, people they don't really know much about racing, and you know, that's also how a lot of the fans and you as well, Long, you guys get so interested in it, and you guys want to learn more. And
I
you know, I'm always happy to inform people
yeah.
that you know want more info about it.
Yeah, it's you know, there's so much. If you just watch people race and you didn't know anything, then you probably wouldn't appreciate it. But once you know what they're trying to do, once you it, I don't really know what I'm talking about because I'm only you know this is only the tip of the iceberg. But once you start seeing, oh, that's the line. Look, that's why they're doing that. That's why they're riding that way. You're like 3 months ago, I would watch you guys corner and I would say, oh, yeah, they're cornering. Now I watch and you look really closely where you guys are putting, I guess, your butt or where you're shifting your weight at how you're approaching it. And even today, um, Aiden, when you were setting that record on your bike, the commentators were commenting, and people they were commenting. If people didn't know what they were talking about, they would get lost. And the guy at one
Yeah,
point, he says, "Listen to Aiden's throttle, and you'll know exactly what Aiden's doing." He said he basically was saying that you were finessing your throttle. You weren't just
yeah,
flooring it. There was like a touch to it, and once people understand what's going on, because there's a fine line between throttling and falling,
yeah,
and you got a little excited maybe on that one part, but you know if there's you say it right. You say it's a racecraft, or there's a craft to racing your craft, and that's
yeah,
because there's an art to it. I agree. There's definitely an art to it. So
yeah. You know, one of these race weekends long, I would want you to interview, you know, my team as well,
oh yeah.
because I hate to get all the spotlight, you know. You know, you know, like I always mention, you know, my crew, you know, it's not just me, you know, going out there and putting me out there, you know. So I wouldn't be able to go out there and perform, you know, without my team. So, you know, I think, you know, one of these race weekends, I think it'll be nice to you know, to have the team here on the show as well, and then, you know, you could hear their side of the story. You know, I can't speak on their behalf because, you know, we all have different jobs, and you know,
Yeah.
for the people back at home watching this, I think it'll be really good to hear their side of the story and their perspective as well. You know, of how we race, and I think that'll be a really good talk. You know, really good segment to talk about.
So when you travel, I met Chris. When you travel, how many engineers do you bring with you?
Right now right now you met Chris. I
Mhm.
have three other guys here in Motor America with me as well. So we have Chris, we have another crew chief mechanic Darren,
Hmm.
another guy Kevin,
Hmm.
and Dale Corley's helping us as well. So you know, there's about 4 or 5
So
of us.
this is not like Button Willow at all.
So,
Button Willow
but
was Chris and his son.
yeah,
So this is not
it
Button
was
Willow.
only Chris. Yeah, you know, Bunt Willow. It's not a professional race series, so we only need, you know, one guy helping us.
Hmm.
You know, with the bike and everything. But you know, when it really comes to professional races, there's 4 or 5 guys, you know, that are helping me put on the show out there for us. So I
Yeah.
think it'll be really nice to hear what they have to say about, you know, helping me, helping the team, you know, what they think about racing as well. And I think that's something that the people at home would like to hear as well, because yes, racing it is also a team sport. You know, it is also a team sport, and you know that I think it would be very good to let the people at home know about that kind of stuff.
there's something, it's kind of funny because you know you I can't express how much I admire you and your dad, because your dad, he is really a champion for the sport in the Hmong community. um that day, so you did you showed me the paddock when we were in Atlanta, right? And then your dad showed me like the paddock and a bunch of other places in VIR at VIR, and a lot of people saw what he was doing, and a lot of people were saying, "What the heck? That's how that's how involved it is."
Yeah.
And because he was walking up to the super bikes, and he was showing people the paddock of the super bike, and yeah, and people were like, "Whoa, that's okay, that's a lot of coordination. It's not just." And he showed that he went to I don't know if you saw that footage or not, but he walked us to the where they got gas, the gas where there's just canisters and canisters of those big 50-gallon gases, and then he showed us the tires, and yeah, you can't imagine those things without actually seeing it. That like this idea of, yeah, every after every race or every warm up or every little qualifying, yeah, we got to put on new tires, and we got to keep the tires at a certain temperature. Like, yeah, there's an art to it. Too
Yeah.
hot and you're in trouble. Too cold and you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And
That's
so,
that's definitely it, like I said before, there's definitely a lot that goes into it. You really got to understand the sport to know what's going on. Like you mentioned earlier, if you just watch us race, it looks like we're just seeing who could cross the finish line first, but there's a lot of techniques and stuff that really goes into it. And I keep mentioning, before, it's not just us riders, it's a team thing. And I'm very happy, that to work with the guys that I'm working with right now.
yeah,
If you handed me a wrench and told me to fix my bike, I would not know how to fix my bike. I
yeah,
only know how to ride the bike.
yeah,
Whenever it falls down, stuff breaks or stuff needs to be repaired, tires need to be changed. Um, you know, I don't touch the bike. I only touch the bike when I race, and that's we all have our different jobs like that. But yeah, that's there's a lot of stuff that really goes into it.
Well, whenever I come, I want to make the most of it. I'm gonna be pretty much in everyone's face and recording everything, because like, look, here's my stick about Mongoose. I mean, like, recording and whatnot, I don't get a whole lot out of it, like financial. Maybe we get like pennies here and there, but it's always good to just record. Aiden,
Yeah,
like this window of like your first hard push at the podium at Moto America, where you take it. You don't record that, you're not gonna get that back. You're
yeah,
never gonna get that back if you do not record, and that's what I tell the musicians too, that I record. That's been a bulk of it. It's been interesting because I started recording artists on stage, and now I'm like, oh, I could. Aiden's opened the door. I'm gonna record Aiden on his big push at Moto America then, and you'll never get that back, but it'll be recorded very well in 4K.
yeah,
And so, that's my stick. That's the only thing I'm interested in. It is just recording for people, and because once you have that on social media, you have on YouTube, Aiden, no one's going to take that away. You will always have that. And the interesting to you you only make you know, uh, nó mong sẽ bỏ thì tê từ tôi hiểu họ nó lại nó chỉ mong là cũng sai cái sai cái
mm,
hàng mong gì mới dạy mình gì but cái mong mình cả the way 古bỏ是吧and 古只保的以後的是他们个塔你去殺塔 A 人啊你平塔你豆豆是 like I was telling you 個 that sometime 你太偶然啦就是偶然嘅 game 啊就是偶然你冇講但就是你去塔講 until you're on first place on the
mm,
track. But you have to go podium. Even so, podium sometimes like cut. Continue to cut in your short. Yeah, they should
yeah,
just let you keep talking. They cut you short. That she, like that's why I want to do Mongoose. Mongoose got it like come on, okay. So after best case scenario, you have Moto America go yang shop podium. Then they do the press conference, right?
mm,
You got to yang, you got to high lo. That's fair, right?
yeah,
But Mongoose, no, we talk to you every time. you get your own personal press release
Yeah. Yeah.
afterwards, and it's good for you, it's good for the community, the community. Like this has always been my thing about God, Aiden, because when I talk about God, about they come mature. Like I said, Aiden hit go, you can actually Aiden highly to name bake your block your song. I'm like, like when I was 18, I don't talk like you. You're very professional about when you know neng G neng your sa and so I think that they communicate got mong I think they're gonna come to really I hope adore you because you're as genuine as they come and you're transparent and I don't see you don't distort anything, Aiden. You just say it the way it is. So I love that about you and you answer questions straight. And so I think that yeah, support then go behind God, yeah, you don't know because I hope that at some point, literally every Hmong person that Bogor they sponsor you, they financially support you, and those who can financially support you will, and then those who can't, then maybe they'll buy your merch, or maybe the little things to move you forward. I don't see why not because liko haya, you're honest. You say that yeah, this is I see you saying this all the time. You that's sponsor. It's okay. That's good and
Yeah.
yeah, that's a lot of heart there. So Aiden, you fell, but that's okay. That's just the fall, bro. That's okay.
Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah.
Don't don't lose
That's
sleep over it.
yeah. I'm fine. At first, right after it happens, of course you're a little bummed out, and I shot you a text as well, and sometimes we just need a low time to cool down, think about what happened, think about what we could do better, and just keep pushing forward. Even the top racers in the world, they still make mistakes. Jake Gagne, the Superbike champion,
Oh
you know,
yeah, we saw him.
or
Kanye.
he didn't podium this weekend. So it's just making simple mistakes like that, and the best riders in the world, they all do it. So no matter how good you're always learning. Long, no matter how good at something, you always learn how to do something better.
Well, if this is well, if writing, I'm sure it is like the OR, then it's like this. You make that one mistake, and then you just make sure you don't ever make that mistake again. Like, I mean, my personal philosophy is it's okay to make a mistake, but it's like I tell my kids, it's okay to make a mistake, but it's not okay to keep on making that mistake over and over again. And I think this has been ingrained into you now that there's it's okay. You got a little. Was your plan to just get in the front and boom, I'm faster than everyone. I'm just gonna boom gone. What was the plan for this race?
My plan was, to just stay up front with the guys.
Yeah.
I know I know it was a little sketchy race, and I know that some of the riders, they will start to make mistakes later on in the race, and
Mm,
just stay up front. But you know, unfortunately, it just didn't turn out the way I wanted to. So
mm,
my plan was to stay up front. If I did have the chance, pull away. But
mm.
I knew that was gonna be hard, especially at Road America. With the draft and everything. So well, we learned. I know what to do better next time. If we're ever in that same situation at that same track. So,
It is what it is.
yep,
We
time to
got
move on. Right again.
yeah, Ridge next week, next 2 weeks, and if you're in Fresno, there's a flat track museum. If you want to join in, and we'll do a tour. I have a very good friend who's a welder, so you might want to know him as a welder, and he's a flat track racer too. And so he's offered to give me a tour of the with the owner the flat track museum. I said, well, I told him, well, maybe Aiden might want to come along, might want to come along and see because he keeps on telling me all this history like Daoling Dawa, and I'm like, I don't know, but Aiden might know. So if you're free, we can do that too, and that'll be fun. Something
Yeah,
to get your mind off racing a little bit.
yeah, of course. That sounds great. Long.
Okay, I'm not gonna keep you anymore. It's going on an hour. I think the utam bike just
Oh,
but like Aiden, hey, we've got your back, and you can't win them all, but you win some, you lose some. You know, sometimes the nature of bike riding that I've learned is that weird things happen sometimes. You know, sometimes the guy in the front slips and falls and he's done, and then sometimes two people fall in front of you and some people cross past during a yellow flag and you get your way. You get, sometimes things go your way and sometimes things don't. So Aiden, we're constantly praying for you, and you're in our thoughts, and we support you, and wish you the best. I'll probably see you sometime soon, and then eventually on the track at one of these Moto America races.
Yeah.
All right, my friend, you take care.
All right, Long. Thank you so much.
Anything,
See you
any
soon.
last words you want to say to the fans?
Oh yeah, I kind of already mentioned it, but I'll say it once again as a closing. I want to thank all the Hmong community that came out, this weekend in Wisconsin. I had a few events before this upcoming race weekend, and I was able to bring a small crowd to the racetrack. And I'm always happy to see that. I'm always happy to see the fans, the supporters, the Hmong community come out to my races and support me there. That always makes me very happy. And I just love seeing everyone at the races, and all the people that I met at the two previous events that I attended in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and in Madison. I'm just happy to see the Hmong community up here, to know that I have fans and a loving family, up here in Wisconsin as well. So, it makes me happy to know that I have, a decent amount of followings, no matter where I am in the country. And
Well, some people have confirmed they're going to be at Ridge for sure. So there's
yeah,
going to be some people at Ridge, so that'll be fun.
yeah. But all right, Long.
Okay,
Yeah,
always a pleasure, Aiden. You take care.
yeah. All
Safe
right.
travels back home.